This bomb exploded on May 14th last month, when we all woke up the next morning and we found in our inbox an email from CouchSurfing who was asking help because of the coronavirus, but also was announcing that the platform would have become a paid platform only from that moment on. Many of us weren't able to access to our profiles anymore, which in many cases means being forbid to access to years and years of contacts, friendships, messages in the inbox, conversations, information collected in our profiles, and so on. This rollout caused several different types of reactions by the members. Of course, many people were supportive and immediately not donated, because it's not a donation, but they registered to this new system on the platform. They paid the fee. The cost of the fee, by the way, is very small. It's $2 and something a month. If you do it annually, you pay, I think, $15. So it's a totally reasonable fee. But many members also started a sort of a real rebellion against this thing. Many members, especially old-timers, they started protesting on forums, on Facebook groups, on the Instagram profile, on anywhere possible, really. Many people got super angry at this new system. And in general, I must say there are several problems going on in the world, but this one added an extra layer of pandemonium to the general situation for who is interested in the platform, of course. So the problem is that there are also many people, users of the platform, who really don't understand why other people got angry, because the idea of CouchSurfing is so beautiful. You can host people in your home for free from all the parts of the world. You get to know them a little bit on the internet before they actually come to your place, so you can build some trust. And on the other side, CouchSurfing, of course, allows many travelers on a budget to actually travel, but it also promotes cultural exchange and friendship in general. So there are so many benefits to the use of this platform for free. Up until now it was for free, that many people really don't see this small fee, very small fee, as a threat to the website. They just think that it's a good way to support the platform. So why are so many people angry? Why are so many people rebelling, literally rebelling against CouchSurfing? First of all, please keep in mind that these members who are rebelling against this decision of the platform are usually the oldest members, the real core of the platform. So they are not really some random 20-year-old cheapskate who doesn't want to pay $15 a year. So let's try to understand these people. They are so affectionate to the platform. They surely don't want to hurt the platform itself. So they must have some good reasons to make such a chaos against this decision. I have to tell a little bit of history of CouchSurfing in order for you to understand. If you want to skip this part, I put the timestamps in the description. You can skip to whatever part you want. First of all, CouchSurfing has two co-founders, Casey Fenton and Dan Hofer, who had the idea of such a platform in 1999, and specifically it was Casey Fenton who had the idea. They co-founded the platform 5 years later in 2004. So the website CouchSurfing launched in 2004, 16 years ago. At first, the platform layered up with the members of the very first hosting community in the world, who was the Hospitality Club. It's still existing today. From what I understood, CouchSurfing was just a better website technically, so many people from Hospitality Club started to subscribe to CouchSurfing. And to give you some numbers, 2 years after launching, which means in 2006, CouchSurfing reached 100,000 members. 2006 is also the year when Derek from California subscribed to the platform CouchSurfing, coming exactly from Hospitality Club. I never met Derek, but we've been having an exchange of messages during the past few months because I was curious to know how the platform was back in the days. So now I'm gonna try to describe you how the CouchSurfing website was between 2004 and 2010, based on the stories that Derek told me, because I subscribed to CouchSurfing only in 2011, so I don't know what happened before that. So on the first original version of the website CouchSurfing, there were chat rooms, which are not there anymore. There were 5 levels of references, not only 2 like there are nowadays. The friendship was at 6 levels, so it was best friend, just an acquaintance, just a person you met once, just a virtual friend, stuff like that. There were group pages for cities or provinces or regions or countries, which were run by volunteers. And both the individual profiles and the group pages were highly customizable, which means that people could actually write the HTML text, so they didn't really have to follow a prefixed structure. The revenue of the website at the time was based on verifications, which, based on my research, at the time costed more or less $25, and donations by its members. And what was this revenue for? Well, the revenue was to pay some employees who were running the more technical aspects of the platform, whereas most of the website was actually run by volunteers.
Unusual organization in a lot of ways. One of the ways is we have approximately I think we have 6 or 7 full-time employees, paid staff. We have about 1,500 volunteers who obviously do the vast majority of the actual work. And
developing for you and things.
Everything. Everything. We have volunteer programmers. We have volunteer customer service reps. We deal with a massive amount of customer service inquiries and challenges. We have an entire PR team. The one on the PR team gets paid. The safety team. There's only one paid person on the safety team, so CouchSurfing is really a volunteer-run and volunteer-driven organization.
In 2009, CouchSurfing reached 1 million members, and Derek still remembers the celebration that his county group did. They threw a very fancy party with men in suits and women in black, cocktail dresses and stuff like that. He was talking about wine and cheese, and he adds that being a CouchSurfing member at the time was something pretty classy. It was a real community of people exchanging help, exchanging experiences, and so on. About the first original piece of life of CouchSurfing, he reminds bonfires on the beach, cross-cultural birthday parties, mountain hikes, summer barbecues, movie nights, Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas days organized for travelers, and crazy New Year's Eve celebrations. 2011 is the year when everything changes for CouchSurfing. The founders, Casey Fenton and Dan Offer, claim that they tried everything possible to register CouchSurfing as a non-profit organization, but the Internal Revenue Services, basically the US government, declared that CouchSurfing didn't qualify as a non-profit organization.
But after we became a non-profit and we started fighting with the IRS, we were trying to convince the IRS that we should be a 501c3, which is a charity. IRS, we talked to them for about 4 or 5 years, and they told us, no, we don't think so, and don't appeal this anymore. And so at that point, we spent between $300,000 and $500,000 on lawyering and legal fees to try to become this. And we were told this is not going to happen. Stop pursuing this.
And therefore, the co-founders had to make a decision. Of course, they had the option of registering the platform in another country, but they claimed that it would have been such an energy-consuming and time-consuming process that at that time they just decided to register it in the United States as a B-type for-profit corporation, which is a corporation for benefit organizations, something like that. And this switch from unregistered non-profit to for-profit corporation meant for CouchSurfing that not only they had to pay the taxes from that moment on, but they also had to pay taxes for all the previous years where CouchSurfing was functioning and it wasn't paying any taxes. That's what pushed Fenton and Hoffer to reach for venture capitalists, which apparently didn't think twice about financing such a big user-based platform. So from what I understood, Offer and Fenton found 4 different investors and they collected $23 million. This money had to go to pay all the taxes, of course, Also to rent an office in San Francisco, which is notoriously an extremely expensive city, and to employ new staff. At this point, already in 2011, the chaos started because many users didn't accept the idea of the organization becoming a corporation. One very important thing to note is that in August 2011, when CouchSurfing announced the news, in the blog article they released, they also stated that CouchSurfing will never make you pay to host and surf. And 3 days later, even the co-founder Casey Fenton released a letter to the community, trying to reassure it that Couchsurfing will continue to be free. And now a few years later, we cannot forget these words. Some of the members called the two co-founders sellouts. I wasn't there, but I think those millions of dollars went to pay staff. I don't think that the two co-founders just ran away with the money and, But these protests of 2011 were just the beginning of the big transformation of the platform. Because from 2012 to 2015, the two CEOs of the new corporation started making several different changes to the website. And all the old members will tell you the same thing, that within 3 or 4 years, the design of the website changed like 4 or 5 times. It was very confusing. It is during these years that the two major structural changes happen. The first one, the group pages. Those groups relative to each city, region, country that I was telling you about, they disappeared. The new management of the website wanted the website to have a uniform look, so they substitute these pages with the places pages that we can still see nowadays. But what you need to understand is that these group pages were the soul of Couchsurfing, apparently. They had been built with years of free, non-paid work by volunteers, by members of the community itself. And within one day, they just disappeared, substituted by these new pages with a very uniform look that, as we still can see nowadays, they are not very lively. In fact, they mostly are just dead pages. This big change meant that the control was taken from the volunteers, from the actual members of the community, by the headquarters of Couchsurfing, which means that the website, if before it was locally controlled, locally customized, and so on, now everything became very centralized. It was all controlled from the headquarters in San Francisco. And the second big structural change was regarding the profiles. They also did this process of uniformation of the look of the website. So they just changed the profiles to the ones that we see nowadays. They are not very much customizable anymore. Every member has a few spaces to write the description. He can post a group of pictures and he has the references, and that's it. Basically, the new management treated Couchsurfing as a real for-profit company, so they started to grow and grow the members of the platform as much as they could. In 2012, they released the app, which was a big deal, obviously, for the growth of the website. And that's how it happens that the website exploded to 14 million members. Which, on Couchsurfing, we are all very inclusive. We like if more people joins, of course, but there are problems with that, because if so many people joins, it means that many new members don't really understand the purpose, the main purpose of the platform, and start using it with secondary and different purposes. We're all trying to help our favorite businesses because of the COVID crisis. Couchsurfing, of course, is in the travel industry, so it's been particularly hit, obviously. So we really want to help the platform. In the famous rollout email that Couchsurfing sent us on the 14th of May, on the second paragraph, they say clearly that the COVID has depleted their resources. On the third paragraph, they say that they have done things, they have cut costs, but it was not enough. On the fourth paragraph, though, they are asking for a specific amount of money from the members to support Couchsurfing to go through the COVID and beyond. So this change of the platform from free to paid platform is not going to be until we get out of this COVID crisis. It's gonna be potentially forever, which is a tiny bit contradictory, don't you think? Yes, but what I save with using CouchSurfing is much more than the fee. Absolutely. But CouchSurfing is not a service. It is, or at this point it was, a community based on an online platform that used to go way beyond the simple fact of saving on accommodation while traveling. Now all that beyond part will be probably killed even more than how it's been killed in the past few years. And Couchsurfing will simply probably become a service, a sort of a cousin of Airbnb. But it is a very reasonable fee. It's such a low amount of money. Absolutely. The problem though is not how much we have to pay. The problem is that we need to pay. When you introduce a fee, even if it's a very small fee, the whole concept of the platform changes. That's the problem. And we also need to consider the fact that usually services always start with very small fees and then they increase them gradually during the years. But not only is a very reasonable fee, 70% of the countries of the world will not pay because of their low GDP. There are two problems with this. First, people keep asking them to see the list of these countries and CouchSurfing doesn't want to release the list. They keep being vague and generic. So what's the problem here? What are they hiding? Second, well, verification, for example, was proportional to each country's GDP, which I've always thought it was a very cool thing. But then why this fee is not? Why do you have to either make people pay or not? So for me, for example, I have an Italian profile, so obviously Italy is in the 25% of the world that needs to pay. But what about those countries that are a little bit there on the line, you know? For example, I was reading in the forums that Chilean people are very upset because they have to pay. Although, you know, Chile is not exactly a very wealthy country. But I don't care about all these things. Couchsurfing is a wonderful idea and I really want to support it. Absolutely. I'm the first one to support it. But we also need to know the history in order to understand what its purpose was and what it's not anymore. It didn't used to be about money. It's never been. It was about opening new possibilities for the mankind. It was about cultural exchange, about friendship, about opening up to new cultures, and there was that strong sense of community. Nowadays, it's not clear anymore what it is about. And for sure, a big website has cost in order to maintain the website, to maintain the servers, to pay the employees, and so on. But then where are these numbers? Why cannot we see them? And why the management keeps being so vague and mysterious? So I spent 2 weeks now doing intensive research about this matter, and if I have to summarize all the problems that are happening right now, I would do it with kind of a metaphor that I'm going to give you now. The problem is that Couchsurfing has two souls, and these two souls are battling against each other at the moment. The first one is the original soul of Couchsurfing, and it is Couchsurfing as the biggest experiment of self-organized international community, a utopia that became reality, a global net of travelers and people passionate about other cultures, where the main goal was to help each other without expecting anything back. But 2011 created a new soul of Couchsurfing, which was originated by bureaucratic necessities and by the conformation of the platform to other examples of sharing economy. You have to consider that Couchsurfing has been the real first experiment of sharing economy platform that became really successful at a big scale. After that, other companies started being created, attracted by the perspective of potential big profit from these kind of sharing economy platforms. I don't think that the profit was in the plans of the co-founders. I don't think they even thought about that.
Now, just to make clear here, that is originally it was a non-profit, right?
Right.
You just were doing it at some level.
At the very beginning, when I incorporated CouchSurfing, it was, if you have a nonprofit or for-profit, those are your two options. And that was it. And so I thought, we want this to be a kind of a community, more of a community effort, I guess nonprofit, right?
We certainly don't know if they actually profited by the change in 2011 or not. We will never know that. But the fact of CouchSurfing becoming a corporation and being run by CEOs, people who are used to work with for-profit companies, made it difficult for these people to have in their hands such a potential for profit and not leveraging it. So that's probably where the company is going nowadays, towards bigger profits. And we don't know if this is true or if they actually just need the money to cover the cost of maintenance of the platform. But if this was the case, why would they keep being so mysterious about everything? Why would they give this vague and generic communication to us community? Why don't they get transparent with the actual cost of the platform? And why did they contradict themselves by saying that they need to cover the damage made by the COVID crisis, whereas they also say that this will be staying even after the COVID crisis? These two souls also apparently show in the headquarters of CouchSurfing, the actual office, because on the internet, if you really do your research, you will find stories of actual workers, actual employees of CouchSurfing or former employees of CouchSurfing, and several of them have claimed that there is a big division between the management of the company and the actual group of employees. So far, I've been giving information as objectively as I could. I was just reporting in an organized way all the information that I collected in these past weeks. Now I will give you also my opinion if any one of you is interested. First of all, I certainly didn't like the way that CouchSurfing decided to give us this communication. It simply happened out of the blue, one day to another. It was vague, it was contradictory, it was lacking explanation. I didn't like how the payment was simply imposed to us community in a almost brutal way, like without even giving us some time to process this big change, without giving the possibility to discuss among other members of the community before having our profiles completely blocked if we didn't pay. And by the way, you should know that CouchSurfing is applying some sort of censorship with his members. Sometimes people just see their profile cancelled without apparent reason, or maybe with reason, but as a very drastic gesture. See what happened, for example, in 2015 with two ambassador members that, after criticizing the new changes to the platform, had their profile with years and years of information collected completely cancelled. I certainly don't like the complete disregards towards all those volunteers that put hours and hours of their free time into building this website in the name of the free community.
We're grateful, because our volunteers make it all possible. Without them, we couldn't exist the way we do.
It's thanks to them if the platform became so popular in the first place. And now other people are going to earn money instead of them, and they are not even doing that good of a job, honestly. On the other side, I also understand the second soul of CouchSurfing and the need of the platform to conform to these trends of the sharing economy market. So at this point, since it grew so big, I wouldn't honestly mind to pay a little fee to have a better service. The problem is that the quality of the service, since the platform became a corporation, didn't actually improve that much. Most of the members say that it actually got worse. And I myself am definitely not satisfied with the service that they're giving us. So in the end, what am I going to do? Am I going to remain with CouchSurfing? Am I going to go away? Am I going to cancel my profile? Well, in all honesty, I really don't know yet. What I think is that I'm going to open and start building new profiles in the other two main alternatives to CouchSurfing, which are Be Welcome and Trust routes. About CouchSurfing, I paid for verification, so they're giving me 1 year for free. So I have 1 year to think about what to do. What is 100% sure is that either with CouchSurfing or with some alternatives, I'm gonna continue to surf the couches around the world. And to all those people who keep asking me if I would do CouchSurfing in the future if I had to earn more money and have more money to spend in hotels and stuff like that, of course, yes, I will continue doing CouchSurfing. For me, CouchSurfing is not only about a free accommodation, it's not only about saving money. I hope you have understood it after all the videos I made about CouchSurfing. It's much more than that. For who doesn't know me, hi, I am Mary Jane. I am a full-time traveler and digital nomad from Italy. Since 2 years, CouchSurfing is a big part of my life since I travel full-time, and my favorite way of traveling is leveraging CouchSurfing, having that deep connection with locals, making new friends around the world. And on this channel, What a Shame Mary Jane, I published many videos about CouchSurfing, both of my experiences with surfing couches or hosting surfers, but also those kind of sit-down informational videos about how to use the platform properly. So if you want to check that out, I have the full playlist. You will find it also in the description down below. Please, if you found this video informational, support this channel by subscribing and clicking the bell button for the notification. Smash that like button as well. If you are already subscribed, I have a Patreon page where you can pledge from $1 up, whatever you want. I took so long to make this video and I'm doing everything for free. Now please also check down the description below for further resources, because I'm gonna link a bunch of Facebook groups and articles and all that stuff. It's all down below. Bye!